question is, what qualities do you think the leaders lack today, and what should us young people to do to lead in a better way in the future?
Yeah, great question. So there's so many things that make up a great leader, but there are two things very specifically that I think every leader in this new world needs. The first is that they have to be humble. Humility is so hard to find in leadership anywhere in the world because generally speaking, as you grow in your career, you're the best at every level, which is how you eventually become CEO or like a top executive leader, right? And at every step of the way, because you're the best, you are told you are the best, and slowly every human being eventually gets a big ego. They really do think they're the smartest person in the room, and humility kind of just melts away. But here's why I think humility is so important. Going back to what I've said before, the cycle of change for the world is so fast now. We have to be constantly learning, including leaders. So if a leader is not humble, they are going to think that they know the answer to everything. And that is so dangerous. Because if you think you know the answer to everything, you stop learning. And these cycles of change are going to speed up to the point where you have no idea what the next phase of the world looks like. Because you've decided that I already know all the answers, so I'm not learning anymore. And that is when you as a leader become irrelevant or your company becomes irrelevant. And the second quality is communication. I think that communication as a skill set needs to be actively taught to leaders. Starting from when you're in middle management, the first time you become a manager of people where you suddenly have 2-3 people who rely on you, you should be learning about quality communication, about how to take very, very complex ideas and be able to distill them and express them in simple ways, right? About how to be empathetic when you're dealing with your direct reports, right? How to actually talk and listen to the people who rely on you. Those two skills or those two attributes, humility and quality communication, are so important for leadership today. And so for the young people, I would say, as early as you can, write these two things down and always think about them, right? Always think about them.
I also want to ask, do you think the traditional media have potential to attract young generation to read in the future? How will traditional media change to achieve this?
Yeah, I think, and I hope when you mean traditional media, you're talking about traditional media brands, like the South China Morning Post being a traditional media brand. I will tell you that our audience and our younger audience is growing and growing every single day. And the reason that our younger audience is growing is because we have figured out actually how to tell news stories in the format that that the younger generation chooses to consume in. Okay. Now I want to be very clear. I think text will always be really important. And if you, as a younger generation, if you guys do not read written news, please start. Because there are certain things, nuances, details, textures, context about news stories that are so important to your understanding of the world that can only be expressed through high quality writing. Regardless if it's English or Chinese, that is the truth. So if you're not reading written news, please, I beg you, start. Honestly, I can tell you, it doesn't matter how good we get at video or infographics, we will never be able to tell the story in the level of depth as if we were to write about it. That said, news organizations like ours, we have to innovate. We have to know how to tell at least the important parts of those stories in those formats that your generation discovers and consumes in. So that's why we put so much work into our video and our graphics teams. We spend a lot of time on posting on Instagram, right? And trust me, it's not people my age posting on Instagram. It's people that just a couple years older than you who are in our newsroom who take our written stories and package them into Instagram posts so they become easier for you guys to discover and consume. With the hope that once you discover something that you're interested in, you will then click through and actually read the full story to get a deeper understanding. So yes, the short answer, Christine, is that absolutely, I believe that traditional news organizations are still relevant to the next generation and can attract a younger audience.
So you mentioned that apart from try to follow what's the complicated details into some more simplified way to report or something or write down. So any free skill sets that you personally think as an undergraduate students that they should improve in our university life, or how do we improve it?
Any 3 specific skill sets? I actually don't know how to answer that, Moon, because I think it's different for everyone. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I think I would go back to my first answer, which is the first question that you asked, which is I think through your university life, it gives you a great opportunity to understand your strengths and also to be able to see your own weaknesses and figure out what are the 3 weaknesses that you can and need to fill or close that gap, and just do your very best during your university years to learn to kind of cross that gap. So it's a very generic answer, but I think it's because this question, I can't answer it for everyone.